You already know The Breakfast Club, you've definitely seen The Goonies, but this video is not about those movies. This is stuff most people have never even heard of. We've got Scorsese making dark paranoid comedy, Nick Cage hunting buffalo in the snow, and naked space vampires. These are the cult 80s films only hardcore movie fans have actually watched. French director Jean Rollin made this strange amnesia horror flick back in 1980, and honestly it's completely nuts, but in a good way. Starts off like film noir. A woman in a hospital gown escapes from some tall, mysterious building, flags down a car on the road. She's being chased by another woman she doesn't recognize. Guy picks her up, takes her back home, and they immediately hook up, because why not? But soon enough, shady doctors from the mysterious building grab her back, and the guy who took advantage of her memory loss earlier now sets out to rescue her. The plot involves a building full of people slowly losing their memories. Soon they're having mindless sex, attacking each other, killing themselves. It's completely unhinged. There's this one extended sex scene that's so long you'll seriously wonder if you've accidentally turned on some 70s exploitation movie, but weirdly it kind of works. Definitely not Rollin's best movie, but easily one of his craziest. Paperhouse is based on a classic fantasy book called Marianne Dreams. You might have heard of director Bernard Rose. He made the iconic horror movie Candyman a few years later, but Paperhouse kind of slipped under the radar, even though it's seriously good. It's about a young girl who's sick, stuck in bed, bored out of her mind. She starts drawing to pass the time, and suddenly her drawings start coming to life in her dreams. At first, it's kind of fun, but then the dreams slowly get darker and darker, turning into full-on nightmares. It's definitely creepy, but the horror's mostly psychological. Like in Candyman, Rose really dives into his main character's head and her own personal issues. Young Charlotte Burke is fantastic as the lead, and Ben Cross is genuinely scary as her dad. Walter Hill, you know him from The Warriors and The Driver, made this strange action musical hybrid in the mid-80s, and nobody saw it. It's called Streets of Fire, and even back then, it had cult film written all over it. It had the biggest budget Hill had ever worked with at the time, packed with young talent, Michael Paré, Diane Lane, Willem Dafoe. It bombed hard in theaters, but found a second life on VHS as people slowly realized it was actually pretty great. It's like a weird mix, 50s rock and roll style, biker gangs, greased hair, leather jackets, but the movie is still totally 80s, really eclectic style, unique, cool, and way ahead of its time. Simple story here. Guy meets girl, instant connection, but she has to leave abruptly. Later that night, he accidentally intercepts a random phone call warning him about an imminent nuclear attack on Los Angeles. He's got barely any time, and now he's racing around the city desperately trying to find the girl before it's too late. Anthony Edwards stars here, and he's an unconventional choice, definitely not your typical action hero type. But it works perfectly. The whole movie happens in one night, gives it this intense, urgent feeling. It's set in a dreamy, surreal nighttime LA, and the Tangerine Dream soundtrack totally completes the vibe. Barely anyone saw this movie when it came out. Tiny budget, zero marketing, but it's genuinely awesome. Huge shame more people haven't seen it. Before William Peterson became a cult favorite with Manhunter, he starred in this crime thriller directed by William Friedkin, the guy behind legendary films like The Exorcist and The French Connection. Friedkin was kind of struggling by this point. He'd had some big flops with stuff like Sorcerer and Cruising. Peterson plays a reckless cop, always right on the edge, and Willem Dafoe, second appearance today, plays a completely psychotic villain. Movie's got great action, great performances, and even a Wang Chung soundtrack, and the outfits and hairstyles is peak 80s ridiculousness. But trust me, that's part of the charm. It's honestly essential viewing, especially if you love this era. If you're looking for a movie that totally captures the 80s vibe in the best way possible, you gotta check out The Hidden. It's this crazy mix of sci-fi, action, and comedy, basically everything good about movies from that decade. You've got this alien criminal jumping from body to body, causing absolute chaos. Chasing him is an alien cop disguised as an FBI agent, teaming up with a real human cop, played by Michael Nouri. Directed by Jack Shoulder, Same guy who made Freddy's Revenge, that controversial Elm Street sequel with its own huge cult following, but honestly, this is probably his best work. The movie didn't have a big budget, so the alien creature stays mostly off-screen, you might say, hidden. And that actually helps. It lets the actors carry it. Nuri's perfect as this tired, fed-up cop, and Kyle MacLachlan's fantastic as the weird alien FBI guy. Box office-wise, it did okay, nothing huge, but it's gained more fans over time. Personally, I didn't even see it until way later when I picked up a nice Blu-ray edition on a whim. Totally worth it, really deserves more viewers. This one's from New Zealand, a quiet little sci-fi classic that's great but still kind of under the radar in the US and Europe. It's about a guy who wakes up after having tried to kill himself and realizes he's literally the last person alive. He wanders around alone, noticing weird shifts in time and reality until eventually he does run into two other survivors. Don't expect I Am Legend-style horror here, it's not that kind of movie. But it does have some amazing imagery, some really memorable visuals. Honestly, my biggest gripe is the poster. It kind of spoils one of the coolest shots. But besides that, this is a really interesting, thoughtful movie. Martin Scorsese obviously made a lot of iconic films, but this one's probably his most underrated. Maybe because it wasn't as controversial as Last Temptation of Christ or didn't have Tom Cruise like Color of Money. But After Hours is great in its own weird way, easily Scorsese's funniest movie, maybe his strangest too. Griffin Dunne stars as this guy who spends one insane night stuck wandering around New York with things getting crazier and more dangerous every minute. It's dark comedy at its absolute best, surreal, funny, and super original. Critics liked it, but audiences mostly overlooked it back then. Huge shame, honestly, because this is a unique Scorsese movie, a weird, quirky little gem about a side of New York you rarely see in films. If you skipped it, definitely give it a shot. This is Cannon Films going absolutely wild. If you know Cannon, you know exactly what to expect. It's trashy, kind of terrible, but also weirdly great. It's that perfect Cannon combination of sloppy and amazing. Basically, it's a sci-fi flick about space vampires. Sounds stupid, and yeah, it is. The effects look impressive, until you notice where they obviously ran out of money. But what really made it famous is Matilda May, the lead actress, who spends almost the entire movie completely naked. Very Cannon, very 80s, and obviously very exploitative, but taken in context, still strangely enjoyable. It's got tons of action, surprisingly solid special effects, and a legitimately fantastic musical score. Definitely not high art, but exactly the kind of bad-good cult classic you expect from Cannon. This one's a creature feature about a giant alligator, but way better than you'd expect, mostly because the script is by John Sayles, who's way too smart to just write some lazy monster flick. It's basically about this huge gator living under a city, eventually breaking through the concrete and attacking a fancy fundraiser, during the day no less. You see the whole creature clearly. Robert Forster plays a cop with baggage. His partner was killed a while back, and now the media won't leave him alone about it. What makes it great is that director Louis Teague and writer Sayles don't just rely on monster stuff. They actually care about the characters. There's even this whole subplot about Forster calmly disarming a bomb just to prove he's cool under pressure, no matter what the newspapers say. When the creature finally goes full rampage mode, it's super fun, but by then you actually care about these people. It's way smarter and better written than it needs to be, which is exactly why it's so much fun.